There are a lot of buildings that are more than 25 years old, built during the 20th century in the 80s or the 90s, that now they need a rehabilitation. And also, we have many isolated houses that are very big with high maintenance and rehabilitation costs. What happens with these isolated houses is that a lot of them are abandoned because of this high cost. The families who have the property don't have enough resources to rehabilitate and maintain them. And also, the other ones, I will say more than 50% of them are being used for rural tourism. Because it's a way to have the income to be able to pay for this rehabilitation and the maintenance of the building. So we are losing this opportunity to have people living there and maintaining the heritage of the territory. I will say it's a territory of social and economic contrast, since it's a rural area, but it's still quite close to the metropolitan area of Barcelona. We are about 1 hour driving from there, and that generates villages with low average income, but also others with higher standards, because not only because of inhabitants who are working in the city, but also because of digital nomads and vacation houses. So we have this contrast between different villages and municipalities. And also talking about local action groups, this is a special territory as well, because barely half of the municipalities are part of the LEADER program. The other half of the municipalities are not included in the program. And this part that are part of LEADER are also split in 3 different action areas of local action. I will say probably the most remarkable one will be these isolated houses I mentioned before, because often they don't have access to energy network, and therefore they must have their own sources of energy, most commonly solar plants, geothermic sources, or other kinds of renewable sources of energy. And of course, it's a very big investment they have to do to be totally autonomous from the energy network. I see that in this territory, there is little access to information. More and more, all the opportunities to improve energy efficiency are published and shared digitally. And we know that the digital gap between urban and rural areas, it's still not closed. And also the age of the citizens in rural areas is higher. So that difficults them to access to this information. And also there is little technical support. Local authorities in small villages don't have enough resources, either economic or human resources, to help or guide citizens to confront these processes of energy rehabilitation. That makes that people often tell us that they feel like abandoned, or they feel alone when they try to rehabilitate their house. We organized several workshops with local citizens, representatives, and of local associations and public institutions to share and confront their visions and build this common roadmap to foster rehabilitation in this area. And the local action groups who are involved in the project, we collaborated in this dissemination of the information and to open the call to every relevant agent in the territory. I must say, first of all, that in Spain, there is not a specific focus on any of these kinds of buildings. Just a couple of weeks ago, we disseminated information about a next generation call for grants related to energy rehabilitation in Spain. And there are several lines of grants. Ones are addressed to single family buildings, and other ones are addressed to multi-apartment buildings. So there is not a specific focus. But I think there are 2 programs from my point of view that will help a lot for both of them, single and multi-apartment buildings. First one is the technical support, the existence of public professionals specialized on helping citizens for energy rehabilitation. It's happening in some urban areas who have already rehabilitation offices, but it's not happening in rural areas. And also there is need of more economical support, but not necessarily a grant. We could talk about loans for these kind of investments. It may come through agreements between public institutions and financial institutions to offer loans with lower bank rates, or directly by a public call to give money in advance to citizens so they can do the investment in energy rehabilitation and then pay it back on a pay-as-you-save basis. And these kind of programs are not yet implemented here, but when we organizing the workshops with the local agents, these ones two actions that they were demanding a lot. So first of all, I must say, as a LAC, we stand for public and private cooperation in every topic as a way to foster efficacy and efficiency of funds and efforts and human efforts related to every topic. And this specific area of energy poverty, at least here in Spain and in the Osona Shire we are working on, there are several administrations who are competent on, at least partially, on the matter at the local, regional, and national level, and their resources are not often enough. And that makes necessary the participation of other institutions from the third sector, from NGOs and other local stakeholders to tackle these situations. Hence, it makes mandatory. The only way to have a real impact on the issue is to promote this collaboration between all these stakeholders. I would like to stress a lot the idea that we are not talking about rehabilitation expenses, but rehabilitation investments. So every euro, every money that we put into energy rehabilitation and to tackle this energy poverty is going to come back to us later. It will help us to be more resilient economically, talking about sustainability of the territory. Maybe if we think in a short-term basis, it's difficult to see the importance of these kind of investments. But in a long-term basis, it's going to have a huge impact on rural areas. So it's something we have to think about both from an individual perspective and from a collective perspective.